Right then, let's do this. Hey everybody, so today I thought I'd film a vinyl collection for you. So I don't know about you guys, but one of my favourite types of videos on YouTube are vinyl collections, because I don't know what it is, but I just love seeing people's different music tastes and their different vinyls. It's just so fascinating to me. So let's dive in, shall we? Okay, so I'm going to start with the smallest vinyl I own, and this is the Submarine soundtrack. And I brought this mostly because all the songs are done by Alex Turner, and I do love a bit of the Arctic Monkeys. This was a film that was created, I'm not sure by who, but I know it's an independent film, and all the songs on it are just so aesthetically pleasing, and it's 6 songs long, so not too big, so it just kind of sits at the front of my vinyl collection because it's nice and small. The next thing in my box is Welcome to the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance. So, some of you may know that My Chemical Romance is my favourite band of all time, and I do own all of their albums on vinyl. So it's the 10-year anniversary of Welcome to the Black Parade this month, and I don't think I've ever been so emotional over an album in my entire life. As you open this one up, it has like the entire kind of Black Parade scene, which makes me very happy, and it's very aesthetically pleasing, and it is one of my main babies in my collection. The next thing we have is Nirvana Live at Seattle, and I actually haven't opened this yet. I only bought it 3 days ago, and it's just a nice Nirvana live album. I mean, my dad has most of the other Nirvana albums on vinyl, but I only have this one in my personal collection, but I do listen to his sometimes. I haven't listened to this yet, but when I do, I'll give you a review of it on Twitter or something. I don't know, I haven't made my mind up yet. The next one we've got is one of my favourite MCR albums, and that is Danger Days. Danger Days is the last MCR album. And there's so many songs on here that just make me cry. I mean, I don't know what it is about MCR vinyls, but like when you open up the covers, they're just so pretty. Oh my gosh! And this guy right here, he's actually my lock screen on my phone, so that's very exciting. I also just think it's a black pressing, yeah, just a normal black pressing. That's pretty cool. The next vinyl I have is The Killers, Hot Fuzz, and The Killers is one of my guilty pleasures. I fell in love with them when I was younger because my brother used to be obsessed with them, used to listen to them all the time. So my dad got me this as a present, and I think it's my favourite Killers album. I haven't quite decided, but I don't think there is one song on here that isn't amazing. Oh, it's just, Brandon Flowers is a babe. I love him so much. I think this is just an all black pressing as well. Let me check. Yep, just a black pressing. So, yeah, I love it. Next thing on the list is the new Good Charlotte album, which is Youth Authority. I haven't actually listened to this yet either, but I'm very looking forward to it because I love their new stuff. I really love Make Shit Love, mostly because Mikey Way is in the video, but we won't tell them that's the reason. Yeah, I haven't actually listened to this yet. Oh, my dog's barking! Just ignore my dog if you can hear her. But I did see Good Charlotte when they supported Autumnlow, and they were very, very good. So I'm kind of excited to listen to this, and I may have to give it a little listen later. Right, this next one is possibly one of my favourites in my collection. This is Vessel by 21 Pilots, and this album is a godsend. It is such a good album. If you haven't listened to this album and you only listen to Blow Your Face, then you need to listen to this. And it's a really pretty pressing as well, because I think it's clear if I remember right. Yeah, look, I mean, just look at that. That's pretty. It's if I can only take like one album onto a desert island, I think it would be this one. It is definitely my favourite. So the next one we've got here is Panic at the Disco, Death of a Bachelor. To be honest, it's not my favourite Panic album, but you know, I do have to support the babe. I mean, I've been lucky enough to see Panic 3 times this year, and Brendan's been amazing all 3 times, and he never fails to amaze me. And I do like this album, but it's not, you know, obviously Fever will forever be in my heart because I do love a bit of Panic. My favourite song on this album's probably, dunno, The Good, the Bad and the Dirty or Crazy Equals Genius. It's just, yeah. I do love Brendan. Again, my heart will forever lie with Ryan Ross. The next one we've got is possibly my favourite MCR album. I think I've said that about all the MCR albums so far. We've got 3 Tears for Sweet Revenge, and this is my baby. First MCR album I got on vinyl, and there's just so many. There isn't a bad track on here. I mean, Thank You for the Venom, what a riff. Frank Iero is my hero. If you haven't listened to this is the album that made me fall in love with MCR, so I definitely recommend this particular MCR album. The next one we have is Too Weird to Live, Too Rare to Die by Panic at the Disco. This is the album that made me fall in love with Panic. I think this is just a black pressing, let me check. Yeah. But you can get a special edition one which is red, I think, but don't quote me on that, but it looks pretty cool. My friend's got one. I heard colourful and casual affair and I was hooked on this. But once again, Iron's not there, so it's not my favourite. I do like this album a lot. The next one we've got is Pierce the Veil Misadventures, and I haven't listened to this yet, please don't hate me, but I've been waiting for the perfect moment. But I think this is a white pressing. Yes, it is. I mean, hang on, let me get it out for you. Look how pretty that is. Beautiful white pressing. Don't worry, I'm not holding the grooves. I know how to handle vinyl correctly. It's very pretty and I'm very excited to listen to it, and I've heard very good things about it, but I just haven't had a chance yet. But it's there, it's ready, waiting for me to listen to it. So the next album we've got is That's the Spirit by Bring Me the Horizon. I think this is one of my favourite vinyls to open because it just looks so plain and bland, but then when you whip it open it's just so colourful and pretty. Oh my gosh. I do love Bring Me the Horizon, and Ollie Sykes will forever be in my heart. And it's not my favourite Bring Me the Horizon album, Sempiternal definitely is. I'd say if you only just starting to get into Bring Me the Horizon, listen to That's the Spirit, because it's slightly on the lighter side than their earlier stuff. It depends what kind of music you're into, but yes, I should definitely recommend to give this a listen because it is very, very good. The next thing we've got is one of my prized possessions, and that is The Killers' Samtown picture disc. It was actually my dad's, and he ended up giving it to me because he knows how much I love The Killers. The back it's just got the whole band and then my babes. I mean, Samtown is a very good album, but definitely Hot Fuzz is definitely my favourite. Yeah, it's very pretty, and I'm too scared to play it in case I break it or ruin it, but it's beautiful. I mean, if you haven't listened to any of The Killers, I should definitely recommend getting into them. They're very kind of aesthetically pleasing, if that makes sense. And you know when a band just fits into your aesthetic perfectly? That's The Killers for me. The next vinyl we have is 21 Pilots' Blurry Face, and this is such a good album. My gosh, I saw 21 Pilots back in February and they did the majority of this album and a bit of Vessel too. And it was just perfect, and they're just so beautiful and perfect. Words cannot describe how I feel towards this album. If you haven't listened to it yet, what's wrong with you? Go and do it right now, please, for your own sake. The next one we have is my favourite Bring Me the Horizon album. We have Sempiternal here on vinyl. It's just, oh my god. I mean, there's not a song in there I don't like. I first heard Sleepwalking and I just fell in love with Ollie and the whole band. But I think When the Snake Starts to Sing is definitely my favourite one. If you do want to listen to Bring Me the Horizon, this is also a good album to start with. I recommend listening to the two later albums before you get into the really heavy stuff from their first couple of albums. This is very pretty and I love it a lot, and I just love this whole kind of pattern thing. Next album we have is the actual first vinyl that I ever got, and I didn't even buy it myself. My friend Lucy bought it for my birthday, and it is Fall Out Boy, American Beauty, American Psycho. And I saw them on the American Beauty, American Psycho tour back in October last year. And this is obviously a very good album. Not my favourite Fall Out Boy album again, but it's very, very good. And if you haven't listened to it yet, what are you doing? It's very pretty as well. It's a blue pressing, and if you hold it up to the light, it's got stripes of dark blue in it. But it's very, very pretty. And when you open it up, it's all blue on the inside too. So it matches with the aesthetic of the vinyl. The next one we've got, I know some of you may be very happy about, and that's the first 1975 album. This is definitely my favourite. I'm not a big fan of the next album, but yeah, my heart lies with the original one. I do love the 1975, and when you open it, there's a lovely picture of them all there, and Matty in the middle. I know a few people who have seen these live and said that they were very, very good. I haven't had the chance to see them live yet, but I would love to. I mean, for me, I definitely prefer this album to the second one, but that's just a personal preference. I feel like I relate more to these songs than I do to the second album. But the second album's still great. I mean, I just don't own it on vinyl. I've got it on my Spotify, it's all good, don't worry about it. But yeah, this is definitely my favourite 1975 album. Next up, we have my main boys, other than MCR, my second main boys, and that's All Time Low with Future Hearts. I don't own much All Time Low on vinyl, but I do own this and Put Up or Shut Up, which you should see later. But this is a very pretty pressing as well. I think it's blue, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to the Fall Out Boy one, but it's slightly darker. So it's like a more opaque blue. The Fall Out Boy one's more transparent. But this is such a good album, and I know people who have got into All Time Low and said that this is the first album they listened to and what made them fall in love with them and stuff. And oh my gosh, I've seen All Time Low twice now, and they've been just as brilliant both times. And I do love them a lot. and they're my babes. And if I ever met Jack Barricat, I think I would hug him and never let him go. I love him so much. The next vinyl we have always makes me cry every time I open it, and that's My Chemical Romance, May Death Never Stop You. My dad got me this for Christmas. When you open the vinyl, you see this, which is coffins with all of the members' names on it. I opened it and sobbed for a little bit, and it even says thank you for the venom at the bottom. I mean, my heart forever lies with MCR, and will forever be emo in my heart because of them. The next thing we have is the new Biffy Clyro album. I haven't listened to all of this yet, but I have listened to side 1. And I think, if I remember right, this is white. Oh, no, I lied, it's clear. It's like the Vessel vinyls. I never used to like Biffy Clyro, and then I heard this album, and I fell in love, like, straight away. Also Winter is a bop. A right tune. The next thing we've got is my queen, Melanie Martinez with Crybaby. This album, oh, if you haven't listened to Melanie Martinez, go and buy this right now and listen to it the second you get home, because it is the most perfect album. And when you open it up, obviously there's beautiful artwork with Crybaby, which is her character. There's even a booklet in here that tells the story of Crybaby through the different songs, and I think that's very, very clever. And I'm seeing her in November too, and I'm very, very excited. The next vinyl we have is 5 Seconds of Summer, Sounds Good, Feels Good. I am a secret massive 5 Sauce fan, haha, lol. I've seen them twice, amazing, both times, and Michael Clifford will forever be in my heart. But there is not a bad track on this album, and I definitely prefer this album to the first one. It just feels a lot more kind of mature and like they've grown up a little bit. Oh, I do love a bit of 5 Sauce. The next album we have is my favourite All Time Low album ever, and that's Put Up or Shut Up. This is the first All Time Low album, I believe, and it's just I need a moment. It's just the most perfect album I have ever listened to. If you want to get into All Time Low, this is the one you want to listen to. It's so beautiful, but they don't play like any of the songs at their gigs anymore. When I saw them back in February this year, they did play Coffee Shop Soundtrack, and I was very excited about it. I even let out a little tear. I do love this album a lot. And next up we have Slaves, Are You Satisfied? And I do like Slaves actually, and I like the how pink it is. But this is like the first Slave stuff I've listened to. I've listened through the album like a couple of times, and I do like it, but I'm not kind of a massive Slave fan, but I do really like this album. Yeah, I do recommend Slaves, they're very good. Next we have Arctic Monkeys, Suck It and See. I do love every single Arctic Monkeys album, but this one just isn't my favourite. I don't know why, it's just kind of, I feel like the songs on it are a bit too slow, but it's still a beautiful album, and Alex Turner will forever be my baby. It's just a black pressing, and it says Arctic Monkeys on it with the classic logo. Like I was saying earlier with the bands that fit into your aesthetic, Arctic Monkeys is definitely one of those bands for me personally. Just every song that they've ever done is just perfect and fabulous and beautiful. And speaking of Arctic Monkeys, the next one is their first album, which is whatever people say I am, that's what I'm not. I always get the name wrong of that, considering how much of a big Arctic Monkeys fan I am, but this is my brother's favourite Arctic Monkeys album, and it's the first one I listened to because he always used to listen to it in his car all the time. The only Arctic Monkeys album that I don't own on vinyl is Your Favourite Worst Nightmare, so I'm gonna ask for that for Christmas and hopefully get it. Next up we have Arctic Monkeys again with AM. This is such a good album. It's kind of different to the rest of the Arctic Monkeys albums, but it's still beautiful, and Alex Turner in this. Yeah, I would always say yes to Alex Turner, he is a beautiful man. But yeah, I don't really think there's a bad song on this. If you want to listen to Arctic Monkeys, I would recommend maybe getting this one. It's much easier to get hold of than the others, on vinyl especially. It's very nice. I like it a lot. It's very nice. Next up we have my favourite Arctic Monkeys album, which is Humbug. I fell in love with this album through work experience. I was working in a record shop called Rise, which is where I get most of my albums, by the way, if you're wondering. And my manager Tom put this on in the shop, and I just instantly fell in love. There is not a bad track on this. Dangerous Animals is my favourite on this album. Actually no, that's a lie, I like Cornerstone too. Oh no, I can't choose. They're everything. Everything is perfect on this album. There is not anything that I hate. It's just, oh good lord, it's such a good album. Next up we have Gerard Way, Hesitant Alien, and I cannot express my love for Gerard Way. I went to go see him in January 2014, and I held myself together the entire time. As soon as he started talking about Mikey, I lost it. Before he sang Brother, I got all emotional because he started talking about Mikey, and on the back there's Lola. I do really like this album actually. It's very kind of Danger Days-esque, and I really kind of like that vibe, especially when I'm in my aesthetic mood. It's just a simple black pressing, and this Gerard face I actually have on my ceiling up there. which you obviously can't see, but in a big poster. And I do love this. I actually bought this in Brighton, I think, from a record shop down there. I can't remember the name of it, I'm sorry. I do love it a lot, and I love everything that Gerard has ever done, everything that Frank's ever done, everything that Mikey's ever done, everything that Ray's ever done. Anything that is MCR related, I will love and cherish, because I am so far up their asses, it's unreal. Next up we have My Chemical Romance, I Brought You My Bullets, You Brought Me Your Love. This is their first album, and I do believe that this is very difficult to get on vinyl. I got it in Rise actually, and I hadn't seen it anywhere else, hadn't seen it on Amazon or anything. I'm very lucky to have this, because I know it's quite difficult to get hold of. It's not a bad track that MCR have ever done, to be honest. I would listen to their albums non-stop until the day I die. But this is much more on the heavier side, so once it started getting to Black Parade, it started to lighten out a little bit, but I think I much prefer the heavier stuff, which is my favourite album is probably 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, because that's when it starts to like, oh, it just gets me right in the heart, you know? And last, but certainly not least, we have Living with Ghosts. I only got this yesterday in the post, so I haven't even listened to it yet, but I'm very, very excited. And when you open it up, there's just a lovely photo of all the boys in there. But I opened this yesterday and had a little cry, because for those of you who don't know, it's the 10th anniversary of MCR. They've released the Black Parade demos and also Living with Ghosts, which is the unreleased songs, I believe, which are like rough mixes and demos and stuff.